week of Super Bowl shows continue on SportsBeat KC, the Kansas City Star's daily sports podcast. It's Wednesday, February 3rd, and I'm Blair Kirkhoff. We visit Tampa Bay today, specifically the Tampa Bay Times. Sports writer Joey Knight, who covers the Bucs, breaks down the matchup against the Chiefs, and we agree we don't see the game unfolding in similar fashion to the regular season contest when the Chiefs jumped ahead 17-0 before holding off the Bucs for a 3-point victory. Then you'll hear from Sharon Kennedy Wynne. She's the family entertainment and events editor for the Times. Sharon provides a pulse of the region, thrilled to be hosting the nation's most popular championship sporting event, but having to do so in a way no other Super Bowl city has been asked, and that is to make it work in a pandemic. Finally, you'll hear from Chiefs President Mark Donovan. He met with reporters on Tuesday. Mark told us that Arrowhead Stadium could be used as a COVID-19 vaccination center, as it was a polling place in November. Also, he had some interesting things to say about how the Chiefs and the NFL have had to deal with the greatly reduced numbers of tickets available for the game. So let's get started talking Super Bowl. Joey Knight covers the Tampa Bay Bucs. Joey, it's great to have you here. And I don't know about you, but I'm really looking forward to this rematch on Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah, I am too. You know, just as an observer, I recall that first game, and we all remember kind of the embedded images of Tyreek Hill going off and Kansas City just building what seemed to be an insurmountable lead early on, and then the Bucs playing really well and kind of finding themselves a little bit offensively in the second half. And Bruce Arians, the coach, has said a number of times, you know, that second half is where he really saw the offense starting to click a little bit. So, and if you go back, you know, it was a pretty evenly played second half, even including the score. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I'm just looking forward to seeing how the Bucs defend, and if Tom Brady can build on the success that he had, you know, late in the game the last time, and see how, you know, just see how Leonard Fournette assimilates himself, and if Antonio Brown's healthy, how he assimilates himself. We didn't see much of him the first game. So a lot of new pieces, kind of a different matchup than the first time.
I totally agree. You know, I read something you had written earlier. I thought it was interesting that maybe the second half of that Chiefs game, but also a few weeks earlier, the Chicago Bears game, were kind of turning point moments for this Bucs team.
Right. They had I don't want to say listless, but just a very undisciplined effort against the Bears. It was a Thursday night game. They set a season high for penalties. Vita Vea, the defensive tackle, just the big 340-pound load in the middle, he broke his leg. People, you know, obviously thought he was done for the year. And Bruce Arians said, you know, after that game, I don't know if he necessarily had a come to Jesus meeting with the team, but he said, we're better than this. You know, if we're a really good team, if we don't beat ourselves like this. And from that moment on, they cut down the penalties considerably, just very significantly. They're now, you know, they went on to be one of the least penalized teams in the NFL. And of course, they played long enough in their season where Vita Vea came back. And now they've got that dimension right in the center of their defensive line, a guy who can occupy, you know, one or two blockers, which frees things up for guys like Ndamukong Suh and even the outside edge guys like Jason Pierre-Paul and Shaq Barrett. So again, you talk about dimensions that the Bucs did not have in that first meeting with Kansas City. Vita Vea is one of those dimensions. And as I mentioned, Antonio Brown, if he's healthy, he's dealing with a knee injury, but if he can go, he was just starting to get his bearings in the offense and develop a clairvoyance with Tom Brady. And since then, he really, before he got hurt, he really got on a tear. So it'd be interesting to see what he could do against the Chiefs as well.
Yeah, I remember going back to that regular season game, in addition to Tyreek Hill getting behind the defense several times, Tom Brady was missing some third down throws, and you know,
right.
that helped the Chiefs get out to the lead. And you know, with one of the narratives about the Bucs all year is just feeling more comfortable as the season progressed because of the new quarterback and the new, you know, just the new faces and players. So I got to think that, well, the playoffs have proved it. The Bucs have won 3 road playoff games and are coming into this Super Bowl playing as well as they have all year. I don't know if you could say the exact same thing about the Chiefs, but I'm pretty sure, I feel pretty confident that the Bucs feel they're playing their best football right now.
No question about it. And it's really all comes down to trust. And trust, sometimes can be a cliche, but you think about Tom Brady arriving, to this franchise in March, and like everybody else, he had no OTAs. He had no conventional offseason, no preseason games. And people kept saying it's just a matter of time. He's just got to develop a clairvoyance with these guys. He's got to do it through reps. And lo and behold, he's done it. They're clicking. And it's even, the trust is even trickled down to the young guys, the younger receivers like Tyler Johnson, the rookie from Minnesota, Scotty Miller, the second-year guy. Those guys have had some very crucial catches in the postseason. Not many, but the ones they've caught have been very significant, including Scotty Miller, that long throw against Green Bay right before halftime for a touchdown. So it's really just a matter of developing clairvoyance and trust. And right now, I don't think there's any question that Tom Brady trusts everybody in his offense, and in turn, they trust him. They've trusted him since day one. I mean, it's a confidence thing. Here's a guy who's going to his 10th Super Bowl, who's been there and been in these scenarios a million times. They've trusted him from day one, but now Tom Brady trusts all his guys.
Day one with Tom Brady, I don't know if I'd ever thought I'd see him in a uniform other than the Patriots, but here he came to Tampa Bay, and how did that lift the spirits of the not only of the franchise but of the region that had been so long since a playoff appearance for the Tampa Bay Bucs?
Right, they had not been to the playoffs since 2007, and they'd only really sniffed it a couple of times since then. This has been a surreal year for the Tampa Bay area. When you go back and you think about the Tampa Bay Lightning winning the Stanley Cup, and then the Rays making the run to the World Series and almost winning it, and now here we go. We're having this kind of surreal thing in triplicate now with the Bucs and Tom Brady. But even before all that, just the notion of a year and a half ago at this time of even considering Tom Brady being in a Buccaneers uniform, it just wasn't conceivable. Bruce Arians came in here to develop Jameis Winston. He was going to be the quarterback whisperer that was going to take Jameis to the next level, and Jameis just couldn't get out of his own way, couldn't stop committing turnovers. So in the offseason, Bruce Arians, we all know, I don't want to say brash, but he's a no risk it, no biscuit guy. Hey, let's go for the best. And they went for the best, and they were able to work things out, and they got Tom Brady. And, it just sent this area into a state of euphoria. I'll tell you real quick, Blair, when there was no, on campus season OTAs or anything like that, he was practicing at a high school, just getting some of the Bucs players together and practicing on their own at a high school. And we caught wind of it, and we saw it and took a photographer over there, and he snapped some pictures, and just the pictures of Tom Brady in an orange creamsicle Bucs uniform practicing on a high school campus went viral. So that just kind of gives you an indication of just how excited this community was to have Tom Brady. And then you bring in Gronk, and then you bring in Leonard Fournette, and then, things just kind of start snowballing. This is excited as this community's been in a long time. The only downside, it's during a pandemic. So it's kind of bittersweet in a way, but yeah, it's been a crazy year for Tampa Bay, unlike any I'll ever see in my life again.
Yeah, fans can't fully, they can't show up. That's the problem. I mean, they can enjoy it, and I'm sure they have enjoyed it immensely. Just a remarkable run of pro sports success going on in your area, and parades as well. Didn't they do something on the river for the Lightning?
Right, the Hillsborough River, kind of, for people not familiar, kind of runs right through downtown Tampa, and they had a boat parade. They couldn't have a street parade, so they kind of sequestered the Lightning players in different boats out on the Hillsborough River, and they had a boat parade, and people, as socially distanced as they could be, stood on the water side, and it was a water parade. I imagine they'll do something similar for the Bucs if they happen to win Sunday. Maybe have a socially distanced celebration inside Raymond James. But I could see that happen. That was pretty cool.
I bet. Okay, so I had to make a prediction for the paper. It won't be out until Sunday, but I did pick the Chiefs by the margin, basically a 3-point margin, and which is where the odds makers say it is. It's where it opened and where it is right now, and it really hasn't moved much. But how do you see things playing out? I'll start by saying I absolutely agree that we won't see a start to the game the way we saw in Week 12. I don't see the Chiefs getting up 17-0. I don't see the Bucs getting behind 17-0. I just see more back and forth for this game. How do you see it playing out?
I'm a big believer in the intangible of momentum, and what I've seen the last 3 games with the Bucs winning in the playoffs on the road has convinced me. They're just playing at another level right now. I'm not saying they're playing at a higher level than the Chiefs, but they're just playing at a level not foreseen in this community in years and years, maybe ever. I think, just the way the Chiefs are a little dinged up front. If I'm a Chiefs fan, I'm a little concerned about that, and the way this defense has been playing and what Todd Bowles has up his sleeve, the defensive coordinator, who knows. I think that will cause Patrick Mahomes some problems, as mobile and as dynamic as he is. But I just see Tom Brady and that offense, which is just clicking like never before. I see them finding a way. I don't remember, Blair, the score that I predicted, but I did predict Tampa Bay to win.
Okay. Yeah, I see the Chiefs have to get some pressure on Tom Brady. And for the Chiefs' sake, it should come from up the middle. I think that's where Brady's most vulnerable to a blitz.
Sure.
And
yeah.
It's not going to do as much good bringing it from the outside, which is what the Chiefs have done in the 2 playoff victories for them. So I think it'll be an outstanding game, a great Super Bowl, and the first time in NFL history a team gets to play in its home stadium. That's pretty cool, and also the first time that the game will be treated like a true road game for the Chiefs. They're not coming down until Saturday. I think that's crazy too.
Absolutely. It's just surreal in so many ways.
All right, Joey, great catching up with you, and I will see you in the press box on Sunday.
Absolutely. Thank you, Blair.
Hi, Chiefs fans. This is Clark Hunt. If you have an urgent orthopedic or sports injury, the University of Kansas Health System is open, safe, and has extended hours to see you quickly. You deserve champion treatment from the experts who treat the Chiefs. Request an appointment at kansashealthsystem.com/sportsmedicine. We're proud that the University of Kansas Health System is the official healthcare provider of the Chiefs.
Okay, Sharon Nguyen of the Tampa Bay Times has joined us, and Sharon's not a sports writer, like we just heard from Joey Knight, but she is the edit. I read this in your biography. You're an editor who writes and a writer who edits. I love that because I'm a sports writer who podcasts and a podcaster who writes sports. So I guess we all have to be versatile these days, Sharon. But what I got mostly from your biography is you write about fun and entertainment in Tampa Bay, and the first question I have for you is Tampa Bay was awarded the Super Bowl several years ago. The city was all jazzed for it. I was there in Miami last year when the host committee was making a presentation after the Chiefs won last year's Super Bowl, and then the pandemic hit, and we didn't even, for a little while, we didn't know if we were going to have a Super Bowl, but the NFL carried on. We do have a Super Bowl. It's coming to Tampa, but it's not going to be the same as it was. So Tampa sounds like it's rolling out the red carpet, but on a limited basis.
Yeah, well, my job is with entertainment and events, which entertainment and events pretty much disappeared as of March last year. So that's the kind of stuff I've been covering. And when we have the Super Bowl usually brings lots of, celebrities and parties, and we always had so much to do. We still have it on a limited, a more subdued basis, I would say. But it's been a challenge, to say the least.
So how did it go? I mean, the news of as the pandemic news unfolded in the spring and the summer and the fall, was it just a kind of a collective depression around the hosting of the Super Bowl? And just, wasn't going to happen in a way. We've seen Tampa host Super Bowls and other major events. I covered a Final Four there, those many years ago. Tampa knows how to handle big events. This had to be quite a blow to the area.
Yeah, this is I think our 5th Super Bowl we're hosting. But okay, what kills us is this is the year Tampa. We get Stanley Cup. We were in the World Series. Our soccer team, every single team of ours has done so great this year, and we can't go to a single freaking game. So it's been very tough for sports fans in this area because we're having a really good year. Some part of me feels like it's so Tampa,
You're having a great year. You're right. The Lightning win the Stanley Cup. The Rays get to the World Series, and now the Bucs in the Super Bowl. I wonder if of those three, which team is Tampa rallied around the most? Look, the Lightning have seemed like they're always good, but
yes, I definitely. The Lightning had a huge. We actually had on the river. We did a parade on the river. That way, people could be a little more distanced. It was still a parade, so we had it on the river for the Lightning. And of course the Rays are always big. And I gotta say though, the Bucs are like, that's our team. They've been such like the bad news Bears kind of, it's like they're, they're here. And we got Tom Brady. We're taking him to the he's taking us to the final. So I think there's going to be a lot of people who will, in defiance, wear one of those orange creamsicle colored shirts to the game. I think there's going to be lots of people wearing those just to have a kind of we're here.
Exactly.
We've been here since the 70s. People don't know the Bucs, I think, still hold the record as the most losing team of all time.
I think that's right. Yeah.
Their first season of having no wins. So as a result, one of the stories I wrote was like, I always wonder, like, okay, is it good luck to eat your opposing team's food? So I was going to do some like a KC barbecue, or some Tampa, the home of the Cuban, which is the most delicious sandwich ever. It's a pressed sandwich with pulled pork and smoked ham and pickles and mustard and a pressed sandwich. Oh, so it's the most delicious sandwich ever. So
I'm looking forward to that. I'm gonna
have a Cuban in honor of the.
Heck yeah! I won't even not eat a Cuban in defiance.
You don't really need a reason. That's true. Yeah.
So, all right. So Sharon, not as many Kansas Cityans will make the trip to Tampa as in Miami last year. It was almost like a home crowd for the Chiefs in last year's Super Bowl, but very limited amount of fans will be in the stadium. A lot of healthcare workers, which is cool to see. And but in terms of just fans able to get their hands on tickets, it's not going to be what it could be. Nevertheless, there are some there are bars and restaurants and other and the sun and fun of Tampa Bay will be available to them, but not all of it.
No, it's true. I mean, like I said, because it's not advised to gather in a crowd. So some outdoor settings have been doing that though. But on the pier in St. Pete and out downtown Tampa has an open waterfront in the river there. So they definitely are doing it. So we'll as I understand, the ticket price is one of the highest because there's so limited tickets. It's one of the highest ticket prices you can get for a Super Bowl.
So Sharon, you have you've written a guide and it's available on the Tampa Bay Times website. How can they drill down and get your fan guide for visitors coming to Tampa? Oh
yeah, what I would say, if you're coming to the area, we have powder soft sand. I did not realize this growing up here that most beaches are not like this. It's like baby powder. It's like soft white sand. So we have miles and miles of that on the one coast. And we also have Tampa Bay is referred to as both a town and a body of water, and it's both. The body of water, Tampa Bay, you can kayak and around. So I give a whole little guide to that. There's many places to get out. And what my suggestion was to not be around crowds. So that was what I was trying to do. Like we have several places to, check out the beaches and grab a kayak and see the area.
There you go. Well, I'm going to find the link and post it on our website. So,
Wonderful.
Sharon, I really appreciate you spending a few minutes with us, and we're looking forward to visiting your city. You're a lifelong Floridian, I see, and have been a resident of that area for quite a long time.
Yes, it's hard to appreciate sometimes the other areas that have cold weather that we don't have. Like the most I have is a sweater these days. So I feel very sorry for people who have suffered through this. But if you want to come out of the cold, come on down, because I gotta say I love the beaches here. It makes you relax just coming down here. So.
That's how I'm planning on spending my Saturday afternoon. All right, Sharon, thank you so much.
Great. Wonderful talking to you. Thank you.
Hey, it's Blair. We have a special subscription offer for SportsBeat KC listeners, unlimited digital access to the Kansas City Stars award-winning sports coverage. Sign up now for 1 year of Sports Pass for access to all the sports news, features, and columns presented on the kansascity.com site, and it's only $30. That's a 40% savings off our regular rate. Your subscription will automatically renew after the initial term at $50 unless you tell us to cancel. Your subscription helps support the sports coverage of kansascity.com and the Kansas City Star, and that support has never been more important. Please visit kansascity.com/SportsBeatKC offer to get this special offer. And as always, thanks for listening.
All right, if you're ready to get started, we can open, or you want to take questions?
I'll just take questions. This one.
We'll go first to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Mark. Understanding that the future is very murky at this point, but I was wondering if you can give us your best guess today, February 2, what next season might look like at Arrowhead Stadium for the home games from a fan standpoint. Can you give us some update on what you think that might entail?
I can give you my hopeful projection. Based on our success this year and the ability to pull off what we pulled off in a year when we had challenges, not only at the beginning of the year, but also, when we had spikes during the season. I think that we should be able to do something substantially similar to what we did this year. The hopeful side is vaccines and other rollouts. If things go in a positive direction, then we're back to 70,000 strong, the Kingdom in Arrowhead. And obviously, from our perspective, that's really what we want. That's what we're doing everything in our power to make happen. And we hope that's reality.
Let's go next to Herbie Tiopi. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Mark. Good afternoon. You mentioned the vaccine rollout, and I know Arrowhead Stadium, you hosted a polling station there. How much discussion has gone on with the city to make Arrowhead Stadium a vaccination site?
Yeah, lots. So we've been talking about it for about 6 weeks now, county, city, and state. As you have seen, there are a lot of different pieces to that puzzle. We've been in discussions with all the pieces, and in every discussion, we've been very proactive in saying, we're here, we're ready, let's be prepared to take advantage of it when we can. We obviously need a lot of logistical support from the parties in charge to actually manage the process. To give you some perspective, for voting, I think we had 40 members of the election board here on site. We had 50 of our staff members who volunteered their day and supported those 40. I imagine with the rollout of vaccines, what I've seen, at least in other markets, it's going to be much more than that. And because of what we're dealing with vaccines, and registering and make sure it's the right person to qualify, all those things, it's going to take a lot of support on their side. But we stand ready. We've made that very clear to the folks we've been in discussions with, and hopefully we can do that sometime soon.
Let's go next to Nick Jacobs. Go ahead, Nick.
Mark, I'm curious for you, minus what may happen Sunday, what are you going to remember most about what you guys went through this year? Because, very few people that get to the Super Bowl have to go through a pandemic as well as trying to repeat.
Tough to think of anything minus Sunday, to be perfectly honest. It'll obviously have an impact, hopefully in a positive way. But I would tell you that the biggest thing, a couple things that really have resonated recently with a number of us, and that is, I think internally, the challenges we all went through every single day of this process to do our jobs, to create the opportunity to keep people employed, to put this game on, to play the games, to broadcast everything we do, it's really brought our organization closer together. And when you think about, we all have our jobs, and we do a really good job of dividing and conquering and staying in our lanes and football and business. But when you're on the phone at 3:30 in the morning doing contact tracing on a positive test to determine whether or not a player can play, or a staff member can work, or a volunteer at the stadium can even be in the stadium, almost every day, almost every week, it really does bring you together. So I think that's probably the biggest thing I'll remember. I've mentioned this to you guys before. The pride that we have as an organization for what we were able to do this year and do it successfully, from being the team that was on that stage the very first weekend and launched NFL football, the season, and to do that successfully, and then to full circle be the last playoff game before the Super Bowl, and to be able to sort of close that window and do it successfully. That'll be a memory that I'll share with everybody here for a long, long time.
Let's go next to Blair Kirchhoff. Go ahead, Blair.
Hey, Mark, I'm just wondering about, as it relates to your fans and the difference between, last year's Super Bowl experience and this one. Obviously you weren't able to provide, as many packages as last year. I'm just wondering if you had a message to fans, and if that was, how big a challenge was it this year just to communicate with fans that things weren't going to be the same in 2020 as they were in 2019?
Yeah, I think the fans have been challenged, like all of us have been challenged every week of this year, and then you throw the opportunity of a Super Bowl on top of that, it creates even more of a challenge. But I would tell you, their resiliency and their support and their understanding has been really inspiring for us as an organization. When you talk about a Super Bowl that is less than 25,000 people, and then when you take those 25,000 tickets, you divide it amongst every player in the division teams from the playoffs, every single organization, every single league partner, every single network, it trickles down to very, very little for a team, specifically the two participating teams. So the Bucs have faced the same challenge. We've been in discussions with the Bucs almost every day, just about how they're dealing with how we can, different creative ways of trying to create opportunities. But at the end of the day, it's a math problem, and there just aren't enough tickets to take care of everybody. And so we did everything we possibly could to take care of our season ticket members on the front end with a lottery that gave a number of season ticket members a free trip to Super Bowl. And then we were talking about this the other day. My dad is a union carpenter, so I learned the lesson early on of measure twice and cut once. And as that relates to tickets, when you're putting all your formulas together and figuring out how you're going to get through all your contract obligations, the players, the coaches, the Hunt family, the league, you don't want to cut short and be scrambling. So at the end of all that, we had a few tickets that were confirmed left over. So we went right back to our season ticket members yesterday with that opportunity to take advantage of it and to get down to Tampa with us. So, you're always trying to find new opportunities and new ways. But this year, like everything else we've talked about, has been a unique challenge. And it definitely has impacted us on that front as well.
Let's go next to Matt McMullen. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Mark. I'm just curious, the last 2 years, when you think about going to back-to-back Super Bowls, you're someone that's been here a while now, and you've been part of what's been building all of this. Just what do the last 2 years on the field mean to you, and what do you think it means to the city that you could help bring potentially 2 Lombardi trophies to Kansas City, but 2 Super Bowl appearances at least?
Yeah, I always hesitate to answer that question without the perspective of the fans, because they've been at it a lot longer than I have. I got here in 2009 and admittedly lived through some of the I like to consider them character building years. But as you're going through those challenges, you're constantly trying to make it better. You're constantly trying to position your organization for success, and as Clark has said, consistently compete for championships. So last year, to be able to be on that stage for the championship game and watch Norma kiss the Lamar Hunt trophy and just be part of that team, right, that made that happen is something I'll never forget. And then to follow that up with the Super Bowl stage last year and just knowing what that victory means to this entire fan base and this franchise and everybody involved with it. It's something that I'll never forget. And then you immediately flip, on the plane ride home almost, you flip to, we got a challenge doing it again. And then to live through all those challenges every single week and then throw COVID on top of that, to be able to sit here today with the opportunity to go do it again is, it's almost indescribable. So that's where we are.
Let's go next to Dave Scretta. Go ahead, Dave.
Hey, Mark. There was a lot of other things that you guys changed going into the season, pandemic aside, talking about the chop and the chant and all of that stuff. I'm wondering if you got the buy-in you wanted from the fans in that arena, and whether you think there's still more that the Chiefs and the fans, everybody around here needs to do.
Well, I think that, as we said in the announcement to bar face paint and headdress from Arrowhead, we think this is a step in a process, and this is a big step. To answer your question, I think that the buy-in was very positive. The responses we got from fans as we were considering it, as we rolled it out, was overwhelmingly supportive. I think really important point is a lot of those responses were people who didn't know it was an issue, didn't understand that was happening. And we talked about early on with our working group creating awareness. So even that policy change created more awareness. In this issue, like many issues in today's world, you're going to have opinions on all sides. And there are opinions within the American Indian world, there are opinions within the general broader world on what we should and shouldn't do. We're going to continue to have those discussions. We'll continue to make changes as we go forward. And hopefully we'll find a place that does what we hope, and that is to honor and respect the American Indian heritage as much as to celebrate our fan experience at Arrowhead.
That'll do it for today. Thanks to our SportsBeat KC production staff, Derek Donovan, Beth Welsh, Monty Davis, Jeff Rosen, Chris Fickett, and Savannah Smith. A shout out today to Joey Knight and Sharon Kennedy Wynne of the Tampa Bay Times for sharing their thoughts on the Super Bowl with us. We've linked some of their stories in our show notes, and you can find their work at tampabay.com. Hey, we have another deal for you, especially for those that want to deep dive into the Stars' terrific Chiefs coverage, and what a time to join in. For a limited time, you can subscribe to Sports Pass for 99 cents a month. That's right, 99 pennies a month. After 3 months, it auto-renews at $5.99 a month unless you cancel. How do you get it? You go to kansascity.com/sportspass2020. That is kansascity.com/sportspass2020. Do you want more than just sports coverage? Check out the entire Kansas City Star product. Sports, news, features, commentary, and analysis, the whole thing. You get all the stories written by my talented colleagues, plus additional news, sports, and business coverage with the e-edition. The details for all of these deals can be found at account.kansascity.com/subscribe. And if you're having trouble hunting down any of these offers, you send me an email, bkirkhoff@kcstar.com, and I'll get you to the right place. So whether it's the Sports Pass or the full subscription, you're getting and supporting the best sports and news coverage in Kansas City and helping us produce programs like SportsBeat KC. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back on Thursday with another Super Bowl episode.